equitably. And what better person to present to us this morning on topics and issues of equity than our own City of Chicago Chief Equity Officer, Candace Moore. So I want to turn it over to Candace and welcome her as she will share a little bit with us this morning about what equity has to do with racial reconciliation.
Thank you. Can folks hear me okay? Perfect. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be with you all, even virtually this morning. I mean, this is part of our new normal right now as we battle the virus of coronavirus and really deal with its impact here in Chicago. But I am glad that even in the midst of a pandemic, we are resilient and beautiful people, and we still find ways to gather, to connect, and to really build the critical power that I think is necessary to really achieve the equity work that so many of us desire. Again, my name is Candace Moore. I serve as the Chief Equity Officer in the office of Mayor Lori Lightfoot. I am excited to be here because when I started this role, I really sort of owned the challenge that equity work means really thinking about how, for the city, how we serve all of our residents, but really build a muscle and build a strategy for recognizing that our residents need different things. And this is based off of a truth that exists in Chicago about the challenges that we've had as a city, the inequities that exist, the structural, the historical. And if we're going to get to this place where people all over the city have a fair shot at thriving, then that's going to require us to do different kinds of work to really understand what our challenges are, but also to understand the assets we have and the different ways that we can really build resilient neighborhoods, thriving communities, to really try to drive at this more equitable outcome that we all want to see in our city. So I am deeply grateful for the work that you all are doing. I believe reconciliation is a key part to equity work. If we don't understand what has happened, if we can't come to terms with the often uncomfortable truth of inequality, then we can't stand a chance to really build the kind of structures that are going to be transformational and move us from that. And so these are the seeds we must plant. These are what we are doing is sowing into those seeds, making sure that we are building a community so that what is produced is something that we can all be proud of, that thrives and supports us from here on out. I really also just want to name that I'm really excited about the focus on young people. We have to be talking about the arc of our history, both past, present, and future. And young people represent a future. It represent the group of people that are going to take on this work beyond the posts that we currently operate. And so we want to make sure that we are building that linkage, that we are empowering them, we are taking in the experiences that they have, so that we continue to build that arc towards the world and the community that we want. And so with that, again, I'm just so grateful to be here. I'm excited about the work that you all are going to do today. Know that the Office of Equity and Racial Justice is always a partner and is always looking forward to continue to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Candace. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your service and for your commitment. And now we're going to have another special guest from the mayor's office. Let's turn and watch.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and I'm excited to speak with you all today. First, I want to thank the organizers for inviting me to speak, as well as all of you out there for showing up and tuning in. Though this event may look different from previous ones, the reason why we're gathered here today remains the same: to share space and learn from each other. I look forward to seeing how you apply what you've learned today into the world around you. Thank you, and please continue to be safe.
Thank you. We appreciate those words of goodness and the charge and the consideration of health and safety therein. And so now we're going to hear from some young people and what their concerns are. Emily Wilkes is a teacher in an 8th grade class here at Catalyst School, and they have a few questions for you, Candace. So Diamond J is one 8th grader from Catalyst Circle Rock, and Diamond wants to know, what are you doing to address the higher rates of COVID-19 in the Black community? And what are you doing to address the general issue of public health in the Black community?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Diamond, for that question. That's been an important question for us here in the mayor's office, especially us, the team that I work with. So Diamond is absolutely right. One of the things that we've noticed about COVID is the disproportionality that we see play out when it comes to Black and Brown communities. And very early on in the pandemic, we saw the high rates, especially for the Black community, the high rates of infection and the high rates of death. And so we assembled what we called the Racial Equity Rapid Response Team, which was a team of government, community leaders, and healthcare providers that came together to say, what more can we do, must we do, to really try to bring down the disproportionate rates that we are seeing. And why it was so important to have that sort of trifecta of government, community leaders, and healthcare providers is because we had to tackle this problem together. Government alone could not solve it. We needed the wisdom and the understanding of community leaders who are impacted by that, who are working with residents on the ground, who people trust and have a relationship with and can help get resources to. We needed to work with healthcare providers to really think about some of the strategies that they have at play and what can be done. And so what was really important about that work is that we were working together. We are all working on the same problem. And I am really proud of the work that we've been able to do over the last 6 months. This has included community leaders from Austin. In particular, we've gotten a chance to work with Austin coming together and have just been really grateful for some of the work that we've been able to do, whether they're food pantries or testing, et cetera, to really meet some of the needs that we see.
This sounds like a really robust and comprehensive plan. I think Diamond will be happy to hear about what's going on. Our next question is from Shamora. Shamora wants to know, what is your understanding today of what Black employees experience in workplace discrimination?
Yeah, I mean, that's another really powerful question. And so thank you, Shamora. I mean, the realities of what it means to be Black in America are deeply complex, and to be Black in America in a workplace is an added complexity. Before I started here at the city, I was actually a lawyer at the Chicago Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. And it wasn't the work that I specifically did. I focused on education, but other folks on my team would work on issues around employment discrimination. And so I've seen cases come through about some of the stories that employees go through of whether it is structural, they can't get promotions, or they feel like they're getting looked over or not giving a fair shot at it, or they feel like they're being unfairly critiqued for the value of their work, or if they just don't feel a part of the culture, let alone if people are actively trying to discriminate against them and say mean things about them, say derogatory and demoralizing things about them. These are the complexities that can live out in workplaces for Black people, and not just Black people, but certainly for Black people as well. And so we have a history of that in our country. I am pleased that it is true that a lot of this is an issue that I think a lot of people have been working to improve. We made important gains, but we still have significant challenges when it comes to even the very issue of employment. That, the challenges of the pandemic, the challenges of the economic crisis that we're going through only exacerbate that. So the work is to be continued for sure. What I believe that I can do, at least here in the city as a workplace, is really support our team and making sure we're doing all that we can to make sure we are inclusive, to make sure that we support all of our team members, that we understand that everyone understands issues of race and equity, and that we become strong and really work on that, not only who we are as a team, but also the outcomes that we produce. And I think that's the way lots of workplaces need to think about it. And that will continue to be work that we all have to undertake together.
Thank you so much, Candace. We have just a couple minutes left for probably what is going to be the biggest question of them all. I will say personally, I'm already feeling safer and healthier about the future if our 8th graders are asking these caliber of questions, right? The last one is from heaven. So already it's big, right? It's coming from heaven, right? What are you doing to address systemic racism in Chicago?
Thank you, Heaven. That is a huge question, and that is a powerful question. And I'm so grateful that Heaven is thinking about this in 8th grade. It makes me even think about, my own sort of upbringing, and when I first really started to be introduced to these concepts of around systemic racism. I will say it wasn't at 8th grade, so I'm excited about Heaven's future here if she's already asking these really great questions. So what I'll try to say quickly, only for time's sake, is that when we think about systemic racism, we first have to understand that we are talking about multiple systems working together. We are talking about racism that exists at an individual level, racism that exists at an institutional level, and racism that exists at a structural level. And so what that means right off the bat is no one person is going to be able to solve it. But that shouldn't paralyze you. That shouldn't make you think, well, I can't do anything. If I can't do it, then I can't do anything. It's that everybody has a role when it comes to systemic racism. And the key is identifying what is your part and how are you going to do that part well. For me, I'm sitting at the city, and my part right now in this moment is to help city government improve its strategies, its practices, its policies to deliver more equitable outcomes. My work alone won't do it, but if I don't do my work, then we're missing a key part of the team that's required to do this. And so what I would say is, Heaven, one, you have a role in this, you have a place, and so we're all excited to support you and your role in working on this issue, but know that there are plenty of other people that also care about this and that are working on it, and it's together and over time that we'll get to the places that we want to really try to tackle what is a systemic issue here in our city and in our country.
Thank you so much, Candace. It has been an absolute joy and pleasure to have you with us this morning and to take the time. Oftentimes, I think we lose sight of how important our youth voices are. So you being here reminds them not to believe this myth that the city isn't listening to them, but that you're making the time to be present to their questions, and that is the part we all can play. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to the future where we can be in person together, but I really, really appreciate the space that you all created, and I'm excited about all of the work that you all are about to do today, so please keep me posted.
Wonderful.